What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Chasing Amy, written and directed by Kevin Smith, starring Ben Affleck and Joey Lauren Adams. Chasing Amy tells the story of Holden McNeil, who is a comic book artist who falls in love with this woman named Alyssa Jones. It's revealed that Alyssa Jones happens to be a lesbian, and this puts the Holden character in quite a predicament because he doesn't know how to reciprocate these feelings that he has for a woman who is clearly not into who's clearly not into men. So yeah, that's the overall story of Chasing Amy. Let's talk about it. Chasing Amy has often been regarded as one of Kevin Smith's best movies and pretty much the magnum opus of his entire filmography. And I'm going to have to agree. Now, while Kevin Smith has made a lot of really good, funny movies, Chasing Amy really shows what Kevin Smith can do when he writes a more mature and more subdued type of movie. And to me, that's what Chasing Amy is. It tells a real story, and it has very well drawn out and relatable characters. You know, the character of Holden McNeil, played by Ben Affleck, we can relate to someone like a Holden McNeil. You know, he's a comic book artist. He's just a regular guy. He falls in love with this woman who happens to be a lesbian. And as the more times they spend together, the more his feelings for this woman continues to grow and grow and grow. And now he can't now he struggles to reciprocate these feelings at first because he knows that if he does, it's gonna change a lot of dynamics in the relationship that he already has with this woman. And I thought Ben Affleck as McNeil did a fantastic job in this movie. Like, to me, I think this was Ben Affleck's first one of his first real leads in a movie, and he held his own in this movie fantastically. He has really good chemistry with Joey Lauren Adams, who plays Alyssa Jones. Like their on screen chemistry with one another is absolutely rock solid, and you really feel a true romance develop between these two, and you have two very talented actors who brought these characters to life, made these characters likable and relatable. And I have nothing bad to say about Affleck and Adams in this movie. They fit the roles fantastically. All the while, they're backed by a very strong supporting cast that includes Jason Lee as Banky Edwards, who is Holden's best friend and co-partner on the Blunt Man and Chronic comic book. I love the chemistry between Affleck and Lee. I think their banter with one another can be both hilarious and a little hostile all at the same time. And their on-screen chemistry is fantastic. Like I buy Jason Lee and Ben Affleck being best friends, and that shows on screen with their characters of Holden, with their characters of Holden and Banky. They are lifelong friends, but because Holden is now in love with the Alyssa character, it starts to put a dent and a fraction into relationship, where pretty much Holden is putting more attention on Alyssa than he is on him and their work, and that's where the friction happens. And I thought Jason Lee kind of gives a very underrated performance in this movie. You know, man, yeah, a lot of the scenes he has are extremely funny, and a lot of the dialogue he has to say is crude and hilarious. But when you actually examine his character, you feel for him in a way, especially when you start to get inside of his head a little bit. So I can appreciate that. It's a very understated performance by Jason Lee that I don't think people really give enough credit for. Very great performance. You have Dwight L., who plays the character of Hooper X, and I love the character of Hooper X in this movie. His introduction scene, where he's talking about Black Rage in Star Wars and how Star Wars is actually an allegory for whites conquering blacks and things like that. It's utterly hysterical, and Dwight Ellie as Hooper X playing is pretty much a flamboyant gay man having to masquerade as a black militant is utterly hysterical. Like when he's in character as a black militant, he is hilarious, and when he's pretty much not playing the character of the black militant and being his true self, he's fantastic as like the gay friend of Holden and Banky. Yeah, I think Dwight L gets another really funny performance in this movie, and it's actually through him is where Holden meets Alyssa, and I thought all that was really well done. It's good stuff. Jane Silent Bob make a cameo appearance in this movie in an actual key scene, and it's the scene where Silent Bob tells Holden the story of Chasing Amy. All right, so getting to this point, Holden and Alyssa, they're now in a full blown relationship, and then Holden from Banky learns of a story of Alyssa pretty much getting tag teamed by two dudes when she was in high school. And Holden, up to this point, thought that he was the only man that Alyssa has ever been with. And when this leads to a very heated confrontation during a hockey game where Alyssa confesses that yes, it was true. And this is what correlates to the story that Silent Bob tells McNeil about how Bob was with a woman named Amy, and he got gone through the same experiences as Holden did, and because he couldn't accept the fact that Amy's past was behind her and that she just loved him, Bob couldn't accept it and he pushed her away. And since then, he's been chasing Amy. And Bob's story relates to Holden in a way because he's going through the same experience. And this leads to another really well done scene where Alyssa, Banky, and Holden are having this intense conversation where basically, in Holden's mind, the three of them need to have a threesome in order for the hostility between them to dissipate. Now, Alyssa, she does not want to go along with this because she feels that this will not solve anything, and she's right. That moment of her life, it was experimental, and it's gone. She wants to be with Holden and Holden alone. But Holden, in his mind, he can't accept it because in his mind, he wants to have the same experiences as Alyssa does to kind of be on her level in a way. So I'm of two minds of this. I mean, the Silent Bob story should have inspired Holden to pretty much say, "Hey, listen, he's gone through this. He regretted what he did, not because he wanted to be in a threesome. He regretted the fact that he pushed away his girlfriend. Instead of Holden actually listening to that part of the story, it's almost as if he listened to it, but just interpreted it the wrong way, and that's ultimately what led to the dissolve of his relationship with Alyssa. However, I do love the ending of this movie, though. Even though the relationship he had with Banky and Alyssa kind of fell apart, the ending is actually pretty cool. He and Banky kind of make peace, and Holden and Alyssa get to share one final scene with one another after Holden took the experiences he had with Alyssa and turned it into a comic book named Chasing Amy, which I thought was actually pretty cool and and just the only best way to end this movie. So, yeah, there's obviously a lot more to talk about with Chasing Amy, but those are just my overall thoughts on the film. I think Chasing Amy is a fantastic movie. This is definitely one of Kevin Smith's best films, without question. And for me, it gets a perfect 10 out of 10. I highly recommend Chasing Amy if you have not seen it. It's Kevin Smith's most best written movie from start to finish. It has awesome performances. Ben Affleck, to me, this is where Ben Affleck really showed what he can do as a leading man, and it paid off in spades. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for Chasing Amy. If you have not seen this movie, give it a watch. I think you're going to like it. Anyway, like this video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.